Welcome to Prince Short and House. Exercise number 75 and 76, Sir Kailash Chandra. 160 words a minute. Total 1680 words. Be ready? Start. First of all, I would like to say that I have been an admirer of the Indian Railways for its critical support to the life and living of the people in the country. Secondly, it has had an impressive record on several counts in recent years. Railway carries freight items like processed mineral, food grains, etc. It has manufacturing as well as repair and maintenance units. It has also very good organizations like the RITES and the IRCON, while have done extremely well in terms of operating result. In this connection, let me compliment the Honorable Minister for his very bold confession on the day he took charge that he was taking charge of the railways in the very good condition. Mr. Vice Chairman, we know that the Honorable Railway Minister was a very eminent trade union leader. Particularly, he was a union leader in the railway industry itself. Perhaps this switch over to the other side of the fence, though agonizing, is a challenge to him, and I am sure he is getting the feel of the challenge and measuring up to it. The performance of the railways during the 11th five-year plan has been really impressive. It has generated rupees 527 crores of surplus, reduced the deferred dividend, and it has reduced its dependence on the general budget. It is of the order of only 41% now. It has also successfully resorted to the instrument of internal resources generation and external resources mobilization from the market. Mobilization of workshops, renewal of track and coaches, as well as rolling stock have been high on the agenda, and most of these have been met with the general degree of dissatisfaction. Computerization of passenger services has been a very welcome thing, and a large part of the general public is enjoying its fruits. I do realize the problem of resources and the other kinds of things which the Honorable Minister has raised, for example, how it is going to affect the job prospect, etc. But sir, the fact remains that the railways have to earn the confidence and the support of the commercial clients. The commercial clients depends primarily on the quality of freight service offered by the railways. As far as the freight service is concerned, railway have a commercial problems. They are competing with the truck industry. The railway freight services mainly depend on the quality of service provided by the railways, the cost and the time involved in that context. Of course, we realize that the truck industry is energy deficient and it is very costly, but in the final analysis, it is the consumer who has to bear the cost. The business and industry could care less whether the goods are carried by a cheaper mode of transport like the railways or the costlier mode, namely the trucks. However, in this, the economy as a whole get hurt. Particularly, the railways are likely to lose in terms of the freight traffic offered. I see a reference made in the Honorable Minister's statement in regard to thrust in the next plan. We realize that it would require more resources and more than that, much more efficient management and support from the entire group of railway employees at all levels. It is important that railway employees should be enthusiastic and involved, and one does not get their involvement by simply exhorting them, wishing them to do a better job, but through suitable instrument of management. Certainly, railways require much more capable leadership at all levels. We have a very dynamic railway minister. I have respect for individual members of the senior railway staff. Some of them are my friends and some of them I know at a personal level, but in a competitive world you would have not to do a good job but continue to do it all the more in an improved way. Now there are three aspects in the railway development program. As a passenger, we are interested in the new railway line. Not only that, we are also interested to see that the railways promote the infrastructure to support development potential growth for the depressed areas. Laying of the new lines is very critical, but more than that, productivity of the current assets of the railways is also one of the critical determinants of the final efficiency of the railway system. Now, with regard to the new railway lines, I would like particularly to refer to the eastern region. Historically, railway lines were laid in the coal belt and some other areas, primarily to provide links and support to the extractive industry. We wanted all minerals from the pithats to be carried to the points where they were used, particularly for the new industrial center. Coal, iron ore, iron and steel remaining even today one of the dominant segments of freight carriage. So the density of railway lines in these two regions, particularly Bihar and West Bengal, has a historical origin. But if you look at the post-independent India, the per capita increase of railway track in that region has not been improved. Next para. I shall now give a brief survey of the provisions in the bill which are designed to encourage investment in productive enterprises, to stimulate higher productivity as well as export, and to provide resources for expansion of industry in order to encourage investment by individuals, the Hindu individual families in the equity share of new industrial companies in India. Provision has been made for the grant of tax-free tax credit certificates to them with reference to their subscriptions to eligible issues of capital by such companies for a period of 4 financial years commencing with the financial year in which the investment is made. The amount of the tax credit certificates is to be circulated at a slab system of rates and will be limited of rupees 1250 for each financial year on a total investment of 330,000. The original provision in the bill, only the first subscriber to eligible issues of capital qualifies for the tax credit certificates. Considering the fact that a substantial part of the capital issues made in recent months has had to be taken up and is still held by financial institutions which underwrote those issues, the eligibility of tax credit certificate has been extended to individuals and Hindu undivided families who purchase shares forming part of an eligible issue of capital from a underwriter declaration declared as such in the relevant prospectus. Incentives for increased industrial production as well as for the more efficient use of the capital already invested are provided in the form of tax credit certificates calculated with reference to the central excise duty payable on increased production in the relevant year over that of the base year, and with reference to the additional amount of corporation tax payable by a company in the relevant year over that payable by it in the base year. The amount of the tax credit certificates granted for these purposes is required to be used for discharging debt obligation, acquisition of capital asset in India, including construction of a building for the purpose of the business, and in the case of company also for the redemption of its debentures. This would enable industrial units to pay off the monies which they had borrowed for expanding their productive capacity, or alternatively to plow back a larger portion of their current earnings for the purpose of expansion. As stated in the Finance Minister's budget speech, it is necessary to provide some more assistance to our export industry on a discrimination and selective basis in order to mitigate the disadvantages under which it operates in the foreign market and to help it achieve its full competitive position. The tax credit certificates to be issued with reference to the value of export will, I expect, provide an impetus for increasing our export potential and augment our foreign exchange earnings. In this connection, it is proposed to set up an advisory board to tax credit certificates for our export to advise government regarding the commodities for which the certificates should be granted, as also the rates. The board will, whenever necessary, invite the commercial interests concerned to present their views before it. The Commerce Secretary will be the chairman of the board, and a senior officer each from the Ministry of Finance and the ministry in charge of the export community concerned will be members. The recommendation of the board will enable the government to take information decision with regard to the grant of those certificates. The measures for encouraging investment of surplus funds in production channels, including a provision for revival in a modified form of the exemption from wealth tax of individuals and Hindu undivided families on the value of their investment in equity share of industrial companies. This exemption will be available to individuals and Hindu undivided families on the value of any equity share held by them in an industrial company where such shares form part of the initial issue of equity share capital made by the company after the 31st March 2000, and will extend over a period of 5 successive assessment years commencing with the assessment year next following the date on which the company commence the operations for which it has been established. Madam, the bill contains a scheme for voluntary disclosure of unaccounted income during a period of 3 months from 1st March to 31st May 2005. Tax is payable on the amount declared at the ad hoc rate of 60% with a rebate of 5% of the tax where the declaration has been made and the tax has also been paid on later than the 31st March 2005 where the declarant is unable to pay the tax on the amount declared immediately. He has the option to pay it within a period of 6 months from the date of declaration provided he furnishes adequate security in the form of guarantee from a scheduled bank. Stop.